These are two best friends, Hibiki and Daichi. Hibiki is pretty good at studying and quite tough, while Daichi always complains whenever they have tests. The two went out for a drink together, and Daichi wondered why Hibiki seemed so eager to get into college, taking practice tests every week. But Hibiki was just a bit bored, so he looked for something to focus on because he didn't really know what he'd do once he got into college. Daichi also shared his current wishes, but then he dropped it and introduced Hibiki to a website that lets them see videos of their friends dying. They both put each other's faces into the site and then went to the train station. There they met a classmate named Nita. She was also a top student like Hibiki, but since that was Daiichi's type, Hibiki didn't bother trying to compete. Suddenly, both received videos showing them dying right there, hit by a train. Thinking the videos were fake, the train arrived, and both felt uneasy, so they decided to double-check. Suddenly, the train station shook violently, and the train crashed on top of them, but the website system gave them a choice, live or die. And if they chose to live, no one knew what would happen to them next. They crawled out from the rubble, but then both spotted a werewolf dragging dead bodies together. Nita got scared, shrank back, and was noticed by it. She panicked and summoned a demon from her phone, which fought the werewolf, and Daichi summoned a ghost that could shoot ice magic. The two took the chance to rescue Nita and hide temporarily, because the demon seemed to be protecting them, not attacking. Nita saw the demon's image on her phone, and Daichi saw the ghost's image. Hibiki suspected it was because of the website, and mentioned that when he was asked if he wanted to live, the other two had similar experiences. He thought the AI that chose death had created those werewolves. The three decided to go back above ground, where the news was calling this a natural disaster and urging people to stay calm. After a while, the signal was cut off. Daichi knew his parents were still safe. Rescue teams arrived and tried to go down to the tunnel but were stopped by another group. This group claimed to be a special disaster prevention team and demanded the rescue teams let them handle it. Hibiki and his two friends decided to take Nita home because it wasn't safe there anymore. After settling things with the rescuers, the prevention team revealed they knew what the real problem was and that they also had summoning powers like the three main characters. The three still couldn't go home and decided it was best to stick together. That night, Hibiki and Nita sat waiting for Daichi to buy water, but the phone signal was still down. Just as Daichi returned with the water, something suddenly flew down from the sky. It landed, and the object on top began to grow larger. Feeling something bad was about to happen, Hibiki pulled his two friends to run away. Then it suddenly exploded. The object regenerated and started shooting bullets all around. Daichi ran ahead, while Hibiki wanted Nita to summon the demon again so it could protect them, and indeed it took the bullets for them. But Hibiki then received a video showing Daichi was about to die again. At that moment, he turned back to the truck. Nita's demon was weak, so Daichi rammed the truck into it and caused an explosion. Hibiki got angry and summoned his guardian spirit, a white tiger. The anti-demon squad arrived, and were surprised that someone like Hibiki had such a high-level spirit like the tiger. Made the tiger dodge back and forth to avoid bullets. It then expanded, so he had the tiger climb the wall and then charged a claw at it. He successfully defeated the tiger and recalled it. Daichi was still alive because Nita had summoned a fairy to save him. She realized she could summon two creatures at once. The commander of the anti-demon squad ordered them to capture Hibiki's group. All three were caught and introduced to a government organization called ZIP and told they needed to come along. They were handcuffed and taken away. Their phones were confiscated, and Hibiki realized the government knew about this but turned their backs on the people. They were brought to the parliament building, and underneath it was a large base. The leader, upon seeing Hibiki, ordered Daichi and Nita to be put in prison. Hibiki was taken away alone to learn the truth. Commander here introduced herself as Sako. They were tasked with guarding the barrier to stop the country's spiritual entities. Normally he would think it was nonsense, but now he had no choice but to believe. The leader came and told him the tiger he summoned was a guardian spirit and one of the 4 symbols of China. It was a creature that ordinary people rarely could call forth. He introduced himself as Yamato, the director of this place. No one here could summon something as strong as his. This summoning power existed since ancient times, and now they have recreated the algorithm and turned it into an app. He blamed them for not warning the public to evacuate, even though they knew in advance. That would cause chaos and disrupt their plans. Yamato said what he destroyed today was nothing compared to what was coming. There were still 6 enemies left, and 6 days to protect the world. Those creatures could be considered extraterrestrial, and they could only be defeated by summoned creatures. So whether he was willing to help protect the world was his own choice. Meanwhile, researchers were examining BA's phone. The main characters noticed the app on BA's phone was very different from their summoning apps. Because this app was much stronger, it could evaluate the user's abilities to summon a matching demon. But if the user was too weak, the demon summoned would kill the user. Hibiki returned to the room with his 2 friends. Nita asked about it, but Hibiki hid the truth and only said they just wanted to check the phone. But he knew if he refused now, the world would soon disappear, and by then, they would have nowhere left to run. The next day, Hibiki's group was released by Sako, but Hibiki said the condition was he would consider joining the organization. Sako took BA to Nita's neighborhood, but it seemed that place was also devastated. Nita was heartbroken, thinking her family had been harmed. She intended to search for her family alone, but her 2 friends wanted to go with her to the refugee camp to check it out. Sako went along with BA, and when they arrived, Nita went inside to look around. Sako left and told Hibiki to call her if needed. Seeing Nita focused and anxious, the 2 guys went to ask people about what had happened, but some still didn't know anything. Hibiki went to get water and saw many refugees here. They still had hope and hadn't given up on this world. Suddenly, a bird demon rushed in and attacked him. He immediately summoned the tiger to fight. Sako, while on her way back, saw something was happening. Hibiki had to make the tiger drag the bird demon outside, but they kept appearing from a person who had chosen death nearby. There were too many, and Hibiki couldn't handle them all. Daiichi wanted to help but hadn't recovered enough to summon a ghost. Hibiki was struggling when Sako returned to help. She knew some phone was releasing them, so he decided to help her find it. She quickly found it and crushed the phone. The bird demons were all destroyed at once. Everyone feared he would attack them, but the family he saved thanked him, which comforted him somewhat. After that, he and his friends returned to the organization and decided to join to save the world. Daiichi didn't want to leave Hibiki alone, and Nita didn't want to helplessly cry while monsters attacked. Yamato then gave BA their first mission. This was Dr. Kanao, who was lost somewhere outside, and he needed the group to find her because she played an important role in the upcoming plan. Yamato later met a young man who used to be in the organization. This young man thought Yamato had high expectations of Hibiki by not keeping him close, but Yamato wanted him to unleash his potential on his own. On the train, Hibiki realized his tiger was definitely stronger than the other demons. Daiichi thought he could buy more demons to use and wanted to learn more. Hibiki was afraid of this power, but it gave him the ability to protect his friends. When BA got off the train, they met some people from the organization and a girl named Hina. The young man behind was Keita. Keita had just gained powers yesterday but didn't want to join the group and preferred to hunt demons alone. Hina then led BA to check out Dr. Kanao's laboratory. Keita thought searching without clues was pointless, so killing the enemies out here first will be faster. He noticed a demon flying past Hibiki's group, then was led to Zip's headquarters. At this place, they were being hacked and couldn't reverse it because the enemy was using magic to hack. Yamato called and ordered Hibiki to go stop the hacker's plan. He asked someone to call Keita to get out of that area. Keita had received the call, but was attacked by a demon from behind before he could answer. He dodged in time, but there were 2 demons. He called Ra, a warrior fighting alongside him, and that warrior could handle 2 alone, but more appeared. He dodged Ra away from the battlefield, then tripped and nearly fell into a deadly spot. Luckily, Hina saved him. He told her she should take care of herself first, then help him later. One demon tried to sneak attack, but Hibiki sent a tiger to attack it. They knew they had to find the phone that was summoning these demons soon, but Hibiki knew these demons were created by the hacker. Daichi tried calling 2 demons he recently bought to help Ra, but they were too weak and almost useless. Hibiki called headquarters to ask where the other summoners were, but she said all those AIs were dead, so only they were left there. So they had to catch the hacker soon. He was about 50 meters away from them. Hibiki sent Nida and Daichi to look for him, while he and the others tried to hold them off. But before Daichi's side finished, their side was already close to running out of energy. Yamato decided to use a virus created by Dr. Kanao. It wasn't perfected yet, so all it could do was slow down the demons down there. Meanwhile, Daichi and Nida called Ra's demon to attack the hacker's spot, but then only Nida's demon was seen defeated. A super strong demon appeared, grabbed Nida, then dropped her. Hibiki asked Keta to have the warrior catch them. At that moment, they also realized that Dr. Kanao they were looking for was the one controlling this demon. But it seemed she was being mind-controlled. Ramadan ordered to deal with the demon to save the doctor, but whenever an AI attacked, the demon knocked them all back. Hibiki decided to team up with Kita because Ra was also getting exhausted. Hibiki sent the tiger as bait, then he and the warrior rushed in to slash from behind, so Daichi could come and destroy the machine. The hacking process was stopped before the main system was completely destroyed. Keta then planned to lead the fight to bring the doctor back, but the demon appeared and saw them celebrating a bit too early. Keta quickly pushed Hibiki away, and suddenly a lightning bolt struck down. He made the doctor input a virus control command to attack Zip's system in return. The city's barrier was broken, and now it's a big problem. Daichi and Hibiki's group were still safe, but Keta didn't make it. Hibiki was upset, because even though he saw it coming, he still couldn't prevent Kita's death. The headquarters also announced that a giant monster had appeared in the sky. Hibiki blamed himself for being too careless, but Hina wanted him to know it wasn't his fault. Hibiki was then sent to deal with the monster, the giant creature floating in the sky. The military tried to shoot it, but it released smaller monsters, completely destroying the military's chances. The demon from before was colluding with a guy who used to be in the organization and had talked with Yamato last time. He thought humans had already surrendered, so it was time to discard this world. The organization had to urgently make a plan. They let people who could use demons fight, while higher ranks stayed back, and Hibiki was the last line of defense. Daichi was called to the medical team. Hina told Nida about the time she met Keita. She was then also called off, while Nida stayed behind. Hina wanted her to try to convince Hibiki that Kita's death wasn't his fault if they met again. Yamato asked Hibiki if he could fight. If not, then retreat, because he didn't want useless people on the battlefield. But Hibiki kept fighting, because he didn't want AI to die anymore. Many people used those demon birds to try attacking the alien creature, but it just shot back, killing hundreds. Nida ran to find Hibiki, but the creature started charging up and froze the surroundings. It blew toward a tower, freezing everything around and the whole tower itself. Daichi was lucky to survive, but the rescue team didn't. He called Hibiki and wanted him to stop listening, because there was no reason for him to throw his life away. Hibiki decided to leave this place on his own, because Yamato wouldn't let him leave early, causing many deaths. Sako thought Hibiki was mentally unstable at this point, but he didn't need AI's permission, and Yamato let him go because he knew another person was coming. As he left, Nida came looking. Hibiki ran to help Hina's group, but the creature absorbed his electricity and shot back, forcing her to shield Hibiki. He ran to Hina, but she realized he hadn't found Nida. She then collapsed completely, while he kept hearing more deaths over the radio. The familiar guy from Yamato showed up. He introduced himself as Ako, an old friend of Yamato, and told Hibiki that Nida was fighting now, instead of him running away. Ako thought Hibiki's power attracted many people around him who then got into trouble for him. If he wanted, he could quit. But Hibiki believed that since he had received power, he had to fulfill his duty. He also wanted to run away, but he couldn't let more people die. Meanwhile, Nita had received power from many people transmitting to her. She felt useless without Hibiki, but now wanted to be stronger and summoned another spirit, also a subordinate deity. The goddess kept flying around shooting at the creature, but it kept firing back recklessly. Then it dropped all the spikes on its body and opened its mouth to shoot again, but Hibiki had the tiger unleash all its power and turn red. It stabbed one side of the creature's mouth, then turned and stabbed again, destroying the creature's core. It was defeated, but then turned toward Hibiki. The tiger couldn't stand, but just then, another summoner arrived and finished off the monster. He came to meet Hibiki and introduced himself as Kuzuki, a member of ZIP. He told Hibiki that Yamato was wrong, and that he hated Yamato bitterly. Meanwhile, Nita went looking for Hibiki, but couldn't find him anywhere. Nita and Daichi then threatened to sneak back to the base by hiding in crates, and decided to find Hibiki. They both received a video showing Hibiki would be in danger. Meanwhile, Yamato realized Hibiki had really been captured. Sako thought they had pressured Hibiki too much, but Yamato only cared if AI was effective or useless. Everything else didn't matter. Yamato saw that the next location would be attacked, so he immediately set up a barrier around that area and called Dr. Kanao to wake up. But she was already awake and starting to fix the system she had broken when unconscious. Yamato told Sako to rest, to have strength for tomorrow's battle. She recalled the day Yamato recruited her, and if not for him, she'd probably still be a civilian. Yamato then went to check with the scientists on how the repair of his machine was going. Daichi and Nita set off to find Hibiki. They arrived at a park, as Sako had directed, and met a group of refugees there. They were almost self-sufficient and didn't want to rely on the government. This guy even gave both of them meals, and said the food came from ZIP, so this must be rebels opposing ZIP. Suddenly, a demon appeared, forcing Daichi and Nita to summon demons to fight back. Nita's goddess was indeed strong, but it also drained energy pretty fast. Suddenly, Hibiki appeared on the bridge, and this time, he summoned the phoenix. Instead of the tiger, he had now become one of the leaders of the rebel faction. After finishing the fight, he left immediately without staying with the two friends. The two asked the people here to take them to meet Hibiki and the faction leader. Hibiki and Kuzuki had returned to meet the ZIP people, but were captured and brought here. Kuzuki cut off their communication with ZIP, then returned the phone because he needed them to stay to help fight. His only goal is to stop Yamato, because once he defeats the 7 alien monsters and protects the world, Yamato will enforce a dictatorship to rule the world. He is an inspector assigned to investigate Yamato's family, and when he discovered the dictatorship plan, he was hunted down. But he managed to escape, and now Hibiki is being used as a tool by Yamato. But you once deliberately let yourself be seen as a tool as long as it served what was right. But nothing is right. Yamato wants to create a world where only AI with ability are accepted, and the incapable are trash. Meanwhile, Kuzuki just wants an equal world. Later, Hibiki asked an older brother figure, Joe, why he joined the rebel army, and the reason was simply life pushing him. He advised you to smile instead of being so gloomy. Kuzuki told you that Joe has also suffered losses, and that AI has experienced pain. Here, Kuzuki called you to follow him. It's unclear if AI programmed the summoning app they used. He took you to the control room. Kuzuki introduced you to his friend in the control room. You are now considered the strongest summoner, holding 2 divine generals. He said it seems like there will be another giant monster attack today. They will try to gain the upper hand and defeat the monster before Yamato, thereby strengthening the rebel army. At this time, Ta meets Yamato again. Yamato still believes the weak should die. 12 years ago, Yamato taught himself without a master. Yamato considered human activities meaningless. Then Yamato conducted a summoning experiment and called out a Saberoth. It burned the surroundings, but bowed only before Yamato. Sometime later, Akko appeared. Akko came and called Yamato a lightning of hope, intending to support him. But now, when meeting Yamato again, Akko realizes he is no longer a lightning of hope. Yamato sees Akko's ideals as nonsense, and believes only the strong rule. Meanwhile, Daiichi wants the driver to hurry and take him to meet Hibiki. Hibiki's group has now reached the location. Kazuki said the monster will definitely appear because they have stronger monsters than Yamato's side. You then return to the command room, and the doctor's sister from Zip, who was captured here, wonders why you left the other side to come here. You think Yamato is too dictatorial and keeps letting many people die. The reason you joined Kazuki is because he doesn't abandon AI. Joe brings you 2 of your friends. Daiichi scolds you for leaving like that without saying a word. At the same time, Daiichi shows you a death video of yourself. Zip's side still doesn't know about this, because both just saw it and immediately ran to find you. Sako still hopes these 2 friends are safe. Meanwhile, Daiichi wanted Hibiki to come along to avoid the death video, but he knew a monster was about to appear here, so he couldn't go. But Daiichi knew the death video was never wrong. Just as he was about to mention the last time, Daiichi stopped and decided he would risk his life to protect Hibiki if necessary. Nita was also ready to protect him, so he shouldn't try to carry everything on his own anymore. But he believed that great power meant great responsibility. Knowing he couldn't persuade him, the 2 friends only asked to fight alongside him. Suddenly, the base was attacked by 2 intruders. These 2 seemed to be people from Zip and wanted to take over this place. Both called out 2 cats, and their speed was so fast that others couldn't fight them. Kazuki had to step in and tried to negotiate to bring the 2 over, but they refused, forcing Hibiki to try to help. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. The control room reported a monster was about to appear, and the location was right here. A ring appeared in the middle of the base, and Kazuki asked the 2 brothers for help, because now the central enemy had appeared. They used all their monsters to try to attack the ring, but most attempts were ineffective. It caught a blow that destroyed all the monsters and cut power to the entire base. If it fired again, the barrier they were maintaining here would break, and the whole area would be lost. Hibiki arrived and called out the phoenix to attack its strike. Nita also summoned the goddess guardian. The doctor sister also called out a demon, capable of weakening opponents. It was forced to switch to Form 2. It split and gathered a very powerful strike. Hibiki tried to attack to stop it, but to no avail. Then a beam shot out, piercing through both the phoenix and the goddess. It even cut into the ground. Daiichi realized this was the light from the death video, but Hibiki still charged in. The doctor sister had to let the demon block a blow for him, but he then dropped his phone and was once again at the muzzle of a gun. But at that moment, Yamato arrived. He let the lion fight alone. It could both attack the monster and block its attacks. Kazuki saw that Yamato could control the demon's power himself, and just called him a monster. No one understood why he arrived so quickly. It was because Dr. Kanao had finished fixing the teleportation device with the energy Yamato provided. Hibiki thought if Yamato was that strong, why did so many people have to die? He said it was to prepare for Judgment Day. He saw everyone else as just pawns for him to use. But Kazuki didn't like the world Yamato described. He also thought Kazuki's idea of an equal world was just a dream and would never be reached. Kazuki knew Yamato would dominate the world after Judgment Day, so the AIs were all targeting Yamato, but he wasn't afraid and believed they couldn't beat him. Hibiki also summoned a tiger. Suddenly, Akko appeared. This was the first time the 3 met. Akko said Hibiki was also a spark of hope, and the reason Yamato came here was because he saw Hibiki's death video. No one knew who Akko really was, but Yamato accepted the lion back. Akko said if Yamato hadn't arrived in time, Hibiki would definitely have died. Yamato said those who leave their fate to chance are just trash, because with power, fate can be bent. Hibiki was shaken again, so Akko asked if he wanted to stay or go with Yamato. Kazuki tried to stop him, but Akko told him to be quiet so Hibiki could choose. Everyone wanted to know who Akko was, because Akko could summon a demon without using a phone. Akko was also searching for answers, and said he would reveal them later. Everyone kept summoning demons to confront Akko, but Akko's demon handled them all alone. When Hibiki wanted to fight alone, Akko said the summoning app they used was created by him, because humans are very weak, Eiko gave them a chance to fight back, and to find another spark of hope. But Ramadan thought Akko's idea of a spark was nonsense. He decided to leave and told Hibiki that monsters would appear again tomorrow, and only demons equal in level to his tiger could fight them. He decided to stay here and confront Yamato. He would defeat all enemies and face Yamato, if Yamato created a misguided world. Yamato then left and let them continue holding this place as a base. He wanted the rebels to keep protecting this place. If they wanted to stop him, they had to survive. The two brothers then came to Hibiki to greet him. The girl was Ig, and the older brother was Jugo. The demon from last time had come to see Akko to make sure Akko wouldn't disrupt the purification process. Ramato recalled 3 years ago, when he had set his direction for himself and the world. Akko also said goodbye to him then, thinking he was the spark of hope, but Akko was wrong. The next day, Dr. Kanao tested the teleportation machine on herself, and it succeeded. She and Sako then went for a health check to be sure. Meanwhile, Hibiki was also undergoing a full health check. Hibiki thanked Daichi because thanks to him he could breathe easier when facing Yamato. At this time, Taya also learned the doctor's sister's name was Otumi. She noticed that although Nita wasn't close to Hibiki's group at first, now she was indispensable, and thanks to her and Daichi coming yesterday, everything became much easier. She used to be a regular doctor, but Zip recruited her because they saw she had quite a lot of potential. She found the job at Zip to be good since the salary was decent enough for her to take care of her daughter. Even though she's an adopted daughter, at least the girl has given her a lot of joy. She also noticed that Nita liked AI so much that it made her blush. At that moment, Daichi was complaining when Joe came over and invited him to sneak a peek. Two ran into Hibiki in front of the female clinic. Just as Nita walked out, she thought the two were spying on Daichi and blamed Joe, so Joe quietly slipped away without them noticing. The two young men then went to scold Joe for causing the misunderstanding. They thought Zamato was setting a bad precedent, but he just saw them as a bunch of trash. That day, they were informed that the monster would appear out at sea. Sako would lead the operation and had people evacuate the civilians. She also contacted Kazuki to tell him how to fight this monster. Hibiki's team was transported away, and among those from Zip who contributed, only Ramato was enough. Right after being transported to Zip, Hibiki reunited with Hina. He was happy she was still alive. Meanwhile, Dr. Kanao had found the ideal sacrificial item. They then encountered the fourth monster, which was much bigger than the third one from yesterday. Hibiki thought Daichi should leave, so he and Nita could handle things. But Daichi said he was also a 1 million healer and could help. Hina wanted to check Daichi's phone, but he held on to it tightly. Earlier, Kuzuki had given Hibiki an email with information about Yamato, knowing Hibiki would act independently and needed to know everything beforehand. Now, he was determined to stop Ramato if he did anything wrong. The strongest members of the rebels used all their attacks, but it was useless because the monster could regenerate. Nita and Hibiki weren't doing any better. Daichi called Ra, but the demon just left, making him feel like it was a waste to feed it. Hina used Kita's berserk mode from before, and, in berserk mode, avenged Kita. The berserk mode broke a big hole and exposed a core. When Viki sent a tiger to attack, the core vanished, but then regenerated again. It started shooting out spikes, and Yamato began using most of his power to prepare. He summoned Ra, another demon, to fight. While the lion handled the spikes the monster shot out. He wanted Hibiki and Kazuki's team to keep attacking it until the core was exposed. As soon as the 3 cores appear, he will attack in their place. Several small groups split up to chase the monster, but suddenly, Hibiki received a death video from the Kazuki group. He called to warn them, but they only needed to retreat their bodies without fully pulling out, because if they fully withdrew now, It would be too irresponsible, plus the combined power of all three is no small matter. Kozuki wouldn't allow them to risk their lives, and if it got dangerous, they had to retreat immediately. The rolling monster was almost at the destination, and it rolled over a place that held memories for Ichika, which made her very angry. Her stats surged strongly, and after that, she uploaded a new monster. It broke its strings. Then a bunch of spikes shot up to restrain the monster. Everyone focused their damage at once, and Yamato also contributed. As soon as the three cores appeared, they immediately attacked simultaneously and successfully took it down. But suddenly, spikes flew out from somewhere again, aiming straight at the Kozuki group and Ichika. When the smoke cleared, Hibiki tried calling Kozuki, but got no signal. Ichika survived because Zugo protected her. The monster's signal was lost, but they also lost 3 members of the Kozuki group. Sako didn't know what to do except listen to the AI's cries of grief. Hibiki held back his feelings and accepted that what happened was the Kozuki group's own choice. They chose their own path, and so did he. Meanwhile, Yamato and Dr. Kanao planned something about a secret project both were researching quietly. At this time, Hibiki didn't know what those monsters were, or why they were attacking Earth from SAO. If this is a dream, then AI, please wake me up. Akko appeared and told him this is reality. He blamed Akko for having power but not helping humans, but Akko said this is a test for humanity. Akko is part of the creator of the omnipotent law. The creator wants humans to be strong enough to protect their own world. It's the natural law of the world, because humans, although lacking the will to progress, keep getting stronger. Akko also has thoughts opposing the creator, like Hibiki, but Akko has no authority because he is just a sword of the creator and also resembles the monsters they are fighting. Those monsters are tools to maintain the laws the creator deems appropriate. Akko sees himself as different from the other tools and the creator, and if the creator created a flaw like Akko, then the creator is not truly omnipotent. Because he can't directly help humans, he gave them the right to choose through that app. Akko no longer understands why he has a conscience or what he really is. Yamato already knew this, and now if Hibiki doesn't do something, the world will return to nothingness. Akko showed him what true nothingness is, the disappearance of all proof of human existence. A trace of the world Akko created and observed will fade, and Akko doesn't want that to happen. Everyone saw the corrosion of nothingness and didn't know if there was any way to save it. The next morning, Hibiki woke up to see Akko sitting beside him. Akko came to discuss with Hibiki. He and Yamato used to be friends because Akko saw Yamato's potential, but Yamato went against all expectations by wanting to create a world that values talent. But Hibiki has egalitarian thinking and also great potential. He might not want it, but it's an innate ability. He completely has the right to make his own decisions. Akko then noticed the coffee was a bit bitter, so Hibiki gave him a sugar cube, and it changed completely. He wondered if Akko really couldn't help directly, and Akko admitted it, because Akko is just a tool and can't go against the creator's will. He saw Akko had nowhere to go, so if Akko wasn't an enemy, he could stay here. Just then, 2 friends came in and were startled to see Akko because their impression of Akko was, from the time he summoned the demon to fight them on the 3rd one. Hibiki spoke up for him, so they temporarily trusted Akko. Nita mentioned Akko always floating, so Hibiki wanted him to try walking on his feet. Meanwhile, Yamato tried to comfort himself that only 3 monsters remained before his desired world would arrive. Hina and Ichika met and went together to the control room to see Sako. They were told they would be chosen to destroy the 5th monster because their abilities are compatible to handle it. The next morning, Hibiki was informed he would not participate this time because this monster is in space, and only Ichika and Hina have compatible demons to fight it. The others can't reach it. Before starting, Hina heard Hibiki's voice. He wanted her to rest and leave today's job to the 2 of them. He was very worried they would fail, but Sako was ready to teleport both away if anything went wrong. Hina was arranged to perform the Shiva summoning dance, and Ichika was the one summoning the god Kama. They wanted to use Shiva and unleash the god's fury on this monster. Shiva threw a spear at Kama, who was being lifted up, and it flew straight to the monster and destroyed its core. This mission seemed pretty easy, but no one felt relieved, and indeed, things were not okay, because even though the core was destroyed, soon after they noticed the shell was falling straight down. They could do nothing more than evacuate those necessary first, and then the shield they built couldn't hold anymore. The whole city was destroyed. But the protective barrier tower still stood, so it was considered a partial success. But not all citizens could evacuate, which made Hibiki angry because Yamato already knew, but was willing to listen if Hibiki had a better plan. He knew Yamato's family had known everything that was happening for 100 years, but hid it to try to gain power when the world was partially destroyed. You get to live while others die, and you don't know if you can carry it all. That night, Yamato threw a party, but no one could really eat. When Vicky wanted to know if Yamato could handle this war, he confidently said he could. You think humans, not AI, are as practical as him, Ramato. There's no need for this world to have kindness, because it's slowly rotting from useless people. He gathered everyone because after defeating the seventh monster, they would meet the Almighty. AI thinks that eating the god will bring peace, but if the god dies, chaos will arise. But Hibiki knows this group wants to fight the god to gain the power to reshape the world. And knowing this, Kazuki tried to stop this group. He said this plan was made by Yamato's family years ago, but Yamato himself thinks it's his own will. So in 2 days, if AI disobeys orders, they die by their own fault. After Yamato left, Hibiki followed him. He tried to share his opinion, but Yamato thought he was too naive. Meanwhile, Nita was informed about the 6th mission, and they needed her to sacrifice herself. She would be the offering for a demon, because only that demon could defeat the upcoming monster, and only she was compatible as the sacrifice. On the surface, she accepted, but deep down she was very heartbroken. The next morning, Akko made a meal for Hibiki's group. Everyone praised the food, and Nita didn't mention anything about becoming the sacrifice. Akko noticed this and went to find Ramato, reminding him that Hibiki definitely wouldn't survive the shock of losing friends. Ramato saw friends as a nuisance, and said Hibiki should learn to let go of emotions so he wouldn't suffer. The announcement then came, and Nita was taken away. Hibiki's group arrived at the control room but didn't know where Nita was. The monster would appear in this city and could reproduce infinitely, but its attacks were very predictable. Still, they had a plan. Hibiki wanted to know where Yamato took Nita, but he told him to just sit and watch. Everyone heard about her sacrifice and the slim chance of survival, so they wanted to find another way. When Vicky wanted to fight, they would run out of energy and still wouldn't achieve anything. The monsters would then spread all over the streets. The monster had already appeared. Nita had now become the sacrifice and was flying up into the sky. Hibiki and Daiichi received a death video from Nita and were terrified. Hibiki ran off on his own. Summoned demon was ready, and Nita had only 2 minutes before losing consciousness. Daiichi wanted them to stop, but Sako wanted him to accept it, even though it was really unfair. She was now under Yamato's control. He made the demon summon a dragon to eat all the clones. The dragon flew to the monster's position and ate it completely from tail to head. Hibiki tried to get there as fast as he could, but in a short time, the monster had devoured everything. Nita also lost consciousness. Daiichi had already run off, and when Hibiki arrived, he was attacked by Nita. Yamato said she was controlled by the demon, so he had to kill her. That demon thought Yamato was quite bold to imprison a god like it and control it. Yamato said he only had a few minutes before that body reached its limit, but it only needed a few minutes to show them the price of daring to disrespect the gods. Daiichi ran up to fight Yamato one-on-one, but he was too weak to matter here. He was angry because they forced Nita, but she was the one who agreed to sacrifice her body for this mission. The demon came to the Parliament building and met Hibiki again. He wanted it to return Nita, but the demon said Nita's soul was gone. True, she was manipulated, but in the end, she voluntarily sacrificed herself. He was blown away but caught by Yamato, who held him and called the demon to attack Nita, forcing him to let Phoenix handle it. He let go so the tiger could take down Yamato's demon, and Yamato scolded him for always getting in the way. Nita was already dead, so stop being stubborn, but he promised to protect his friends and wouldn't let him touch her. The demon saw its body nearing the limit and threw a spear at Yamato, but Hibiki pushed him away so he could block Hibiki's power. Suddenly, Hibiki's power surged, and Yamato saw the dragon vein had chosen him. He hoped Hibiki would lead the world with him, but Hibiki refused because he wanted to use this power to protect everyone. The demon tried to attack again, thinking it was useless for Hibiki to resist, but Hibiki believed Nita was still there, and suddenly, part of her awakened. To fight the control, he spoke with Nita's soul and begged her not to choose death. But she felt weak and different from him. She no longer had a reason to live since her parents were gone. He said AI humans are just as weak, which is why they need friends to rely on. He succeeded in pulling her back and separating her from the demon, but right after, he was weakened by the dragon vein and fell. Yamato caught them both and said Hibiki was very weak now, and he would do everything to save him. If she lived, she should prepare to face a new world after the final battle. Tomorrow, she chose to go with Hibiki and oppose him. Thought that was better because the final battle might be against Hibiki's group, not the gods, and if needed, he was ready to take them down. Hibiki was taken for treatment. Hina felt this was too much pressure for Hibiki. Daiichi blamed himself for being too weak to help. I came to tell Nita not to blame herself. Hugo felt everyone carried the same pressure, so for now, just rest, and maybe a solution will come. Meanwhile, two demons came looking for Akko, and the horned one saw Akko was too attached to this world, so he wanted to kill him. But Akko had considerable power, and soon the demon was crushed by Akko until nothing was left. The candle-wielding demon was scared and didn't dare argue. Akko greeted Hibiki briefly before leaving, because he would watch until the very end, even if it was the end. That morning, Hugo and Nita made food for the group. The group finally had a chance to introduce themselves and exchange numbers. Then all five received death videos, saying they would all die. The final enemy appeared, destroying an entire city in an instant. It was considered all-powerful and the strongest enemy. Wherever it destroyed, the void swallowed everything. The group decided to launch an attack, not by Yamato's order, but for their own goals. Ramadan would also join the battle without waiting. Hibiki remembered before, when his family ignored him, and Daiichi was his only friend. His parents set high expectations for him, making Daiichi work hard to keep up and study with him. Hibiki also had more fun when he was with Daiichi. He suddenly woke up. The final enemy was quite small, shooting rays wherever it went. Yamato blocked it to keep the base safe. The demon rushed down to attack physically, but Yamato still blocked it so the demon summoners could attack. I summoned all the strongest demons to fight, and Yamato also called out two to assist. They forced it to split, and it released a wave that forced the demons to retreat and recover. Dr. Kanao stood from afar, using demons to block that wave. One shard broke off, and another separated and shot toward Kanao. Sako had Kanao's death video, so he told her to get out of the way, but Kanao decided to face it and see how death looked. He still couldn't summon demons, and Yamato was too weak to carry more. Now I realize this one was made by combining 4 pieces from the previous demons. Ramato was chased by a shard from the third demon. The spiky shard kept shooting at the others. Ig and Jugo got stuck among the spikes, which exploded like the first demon. Nina then got trapped below and told Daiichi to protect Nita no matter what. Daiichi's group wasn't better off. They were also surrounded. But Hibiki arrived in time to save the 3. He was furious, hearing the others didn't make it, and charged forward. His tiger was defeated, and he charged up to fight alongside Yamato. He blamed Yamato for causing his friends to die again. Yamato said sacrifices were needed to create a new world. He was selfish, but that's how the world is. But Hibiki didn't want a world built on the bodies of his friends. You decided to fix everything. Even if the world is rotten, it still needs people to refine it. Hibiki and Yamato gradually got suppressed and watched their close friend get bullied and oppressed, which finally made Daiichi speak up. He summoned a giant demon. Although it didn't look fierce, it was stronger than both of Yamato's demons. The demon summoned a stake and skewered the enemy directly. Its attack was followed up with a punch. In a hand-to-hand fight, Hibiki and Yamato finished it off, and it was defeated. The 7 days of judgment ended. Hibiki wouldn't let Yamato get his way, but he had to be brave enough to kill him, or else he would be dealt with. But Akko appeared. Akko wouldn't let Yamato touch Hibiki, and Akko would be the challenge Yamato needed to overcome. This was entirely Akko's own decision, with no interference from the creator. Ramato charged in and was continuously attacked by Akko's steel rods. At this point, Hibiki knew they still had to face the creator, and if Ramato succeeded, the world would follow his will. But now Hibiki was exhausted. Ramato didn't weaken against Akko because the closer he got to the tower, the stronger he became. Both will have to kill someone to achieve their desires. Akko has gained perception and emotions by reaching out to Hibiki. Yamato sees that Akko is broken, but both are ready to stop each other at any cost. The VI death signals of both have been sent to each other. Hibiki received it as well, so he wants to go stop Yamato, because he promised to stop Yamato at all costs. But Sako wanted to do it herself because she owed Yamato a lot. She was supposed to have left government service due to injury, but Yamato saved her. She summoned a demon to join the fight, and Sako's video reached BA. Akko was far stronger than Yamato, because Yamato still had human limits. Seeing Sako leave, Ramato was heartbroken, but she bought enough time for Ramato to summon Ra, the demon who could fight Akko. Akko also knew the result of this battle. The situation instantly reversed as Akko was relentlessly attacked and slammed back to the ground. Aiko was happy to be friends with Yamato, but he never saw Aiko as a friend. Yamato knew the path he was on was very dark, but the world was too rotten. Those in power were evil, and the incompetent ignored it. He had to change it. Though he knew violence would make things worse, he was ready to bear all the guilt. Aiko would still stop Yamato from hurting Hibiki. He tied himself and Yamato together, to die together. The two flew up and exploded before Hibiki's helpless eyes, but Yamato survived, and the world began to shatter. Yamato will go meet the creator and leave the demons for Hibiki to fight alone. But the two friends arrive wanting to handle the demons for Hibiki because only he has the strength to fight back against Yamato. He arrives at the gate and sees the two friends gradually being swallowed by the void to be reshaped. He still insists on turning away, while the two friends are gradually consumed, and their memories of Hibiki fade as well. Their feelings for Hibiki still remain. Then they are pulled into the void. Hibiki and Yamato meet again, and the two are the last people left in the world, and only one can face the creator. Both call upon their spirit beasts, Ra and AI. The winner will be either the tiger or the lion. The two beasts charge at each other. One breathes fire while the other blocks it. Yamato admits that Hibiki has become as strong as him. They talk about the god in this world, saying that the god also has flaws, and Yamato will replace that god and create a world without flaws. When Hibiki admits that world is perfect, its imposition will only hold humanity back. Humans are beings who always make mistakes and then evolve and develop to improve those mistakes. Yamato's world would be like the way they chose death at the start. Living means continuing to think and move toward the future. The two beasts charge again, and the tiger bites the lion's leg. Yamato sees that Hibiki is just full of foolish illusions because humanity has lost hope. He believes they are alive today because of his decisions. The responsibility of the talented is something they must accept whether they want to or not. Yamato likes solitude. He doesn't need friends because friends are weak. Hibiki asks why he came to save him that time. Because he said he didn't need friends, so why did the Demon of Death 6 come to save him? The lion immediately weakens and is defeated by the tiger. Hibiki wants both to stop fighting and be friends to change everything together. But Yamato thinks he can't turn back and will fight to protect his honor. If Hibiki sees him as a friend, then he has to kill him. Yamato shows Hibiki a new mechanism. Demon fusion. He has fused the two strongest demons and created SA, which breaks through Hibiki's defenses. But at the critical moment, Daiichi's demon is sent to protect Hibiki. Demons from his friends are all sent, and Hibiki uses demons from 6 friends to gradually fuse with his 2 spirit beasts. The result of fusing all 8 demons is the demon god Lucifer. Lucifer completely overwhelms SA, and then a hug solves everything. Yamato didn't expect Hibiki could really stop him. Afterward, Hibiki restores everything to how it was at the start, when he and Daiichi went to get a drink and were introduced to the death video app. But this time, both met Nita right under the GA ship. He is so happy he suddenly cries. The ship then arrives, but it doesn't crash anymore. Hibiki gradually remembers that he wished everything to go back to the beginning. But during those 7 days, he still remembers running outside and seeing others living well. Sota continues on the athlete path and is interviewed. Hina sets off to pursue her dream. The car-loving sister lives happily with her daughter. Ai continues on the performance path. Jugo becomes a chef. Ji visits the girl he loves. Kazuki continues investigating to expose politicians. Dr. Kanao continues research and sometimes goes out with Sakura. Hibiki comes to find Yamato but is stopped. However, Yamato comes out and meets him again. He still has scars from the battle, only smiles at Hibiki, then leaves. Hibiki is so happy he cries because everyone is safe. Akko sees that this world no longer needs him, so he will let humanity continue to develop while he continues to watch. This is where the movie ends.